Shadow had never bitten anyone before. That's what kept replaying in Emily's mind as she sat on the cold hospital bench, staring at the crimson stain on her sleeve. The family's loyal canine, a 5-year-old German shepherd with soft brown eyes, had always been gentle with their 2-year-old son, Noah. He was the protector, the playmate, the silent watcher in the shadows of their suburban home. But tonight, everything changed, and it all began with a single, unexpected bite. It had been a typical Thursday evening in the Dawson household. Emily, a single mother juggling 2 part-time jobs and night classes, was running late from her shift at the diner. She had trusted Heather, a college student from down the street, to watch Noah for a few hours. Shadow had greeted Heather with a wagging tail when she arrived. Everything seemed normal. At 6:03 p.m., Heather texted Emily a cute photo, Noah giggling in his high chair, cheeks smeared with mashed peas. Shadow sat by his feet, ever vigilant. Emily smiled at the photo, feeling a rare moment of calm. She texted back, "Be home by 6:30. But at 6:18 p.m., everything unraveled. Heather decided to give Noah a new snack, a handful of mixed nuts she'd brought in her bag. She meant no harm, she just wanted to keep him happy while she tidied the kitchen. But when she turned away to rinse his sippy cup, Shadow suddenly lunged. A low growl rumbled in his throat as he bit down on Heather's wrist, his teeth breaking skin. Heather screamed in shock, dropping the cup, the nuts, everything. Noah began to cry. Shadow barked and barked, standing between Heather and the little boy like a furry sentinel. Heather, her wrist bleeding, called Emily in a panic. Emily's hands trembled as she heard the chaos through the phone, Heather crying, Shadow growling, Noah sobbing in the background. She sped home, running 2 red lights. By the time she burst through the door, 7 minutes had passed since the bite. What she saw made her knees buckle. Noah's face was swelling. His tiny lips were puffed and red, his eyes watery and panicked. He was scratching at his throat, struggling to breathe. Emily didn't think, she just scooped him up, grabbed Shadow's collar, and raced to the car. She left Heather dabbing at her wrist with a dish towel, wide-eyed and pale. In the emergency room, the diagnosis came swiftly, a severe allergic reaction. Anaphylaxis. The nuts Heather gave him contained traces of cashews, and Noah, it turned out, was severely allergic. If Shadow hadn't bitten Heather and stopped her from feeding Noah more, the doctor said, the swelling would have closed his airway entirely. 7 minutes. That's all it took to teeter between life and death. The days that followed were a blur of hospital corridors, whispered prayers, and quiet tears. Emily felt a storm of guilt. Should she have told Heather about Noah's allergy? But she hadn't even known herself, they hadn't tested him yet. Should she have trusted someone else with her son? Should she have paid more attention to Shadow's instincts? Shadow stayed at her mother's house during Noah's hospital stay. Emily knew people were talking, the neighbors murmured about their dangerous dog, who'd attacked a babysitter. Animal control even came by to check on Shadow, but the vet declared him healthy, calm, and not aggressive. Emily fought back tears when they asked if she wanted him rehomed. When Noah was finally discharged, weak but safe, Emily brought him home to a pile of stuffed animals and get-well cards. Shadow sat by the door, tail wagging low and cautious. Emily held her son close as she crouched beside her loyal canine. Noah giggled, his tiny fingers curling into Shadow's fur. Shadow nuzzled his cheek, ever so gentle. Word spread about what really happened. Neighbors who once glared now knocked on Emily's door with casseroles and questions. They wanted to know how Shadow knew. How did a dog sense an allergy before it became fatal? The vet explained it simply, dogs have an incredible sense of smell. It was possible Shadow detected a change in Noah's breath or skin. Or maybe it was just loyalty, the unspoken bond that made him react when something felt wrong. Still, Emily faced challenges. Heather's parents threatened to sue for their bite, but when the truth came out, they backed down. The incident taught Emily about trust, about the limits of human perception, about the unbreakable intuition of animals who love us more than we know. There were nights when Emily lay awake replaying it all, the bite, the drive, the beeping monitors in the ER. But then she'd look at Shadow, curled up at Noah's door, and feel only gratitude. Her canine had taken teeth to skin to save a child who couldn't speak for himself. A scar on Heather's wrist, a lesson carved in flesh, a reminder that sometimes heroes wear fur and never ask for thanks. As the seasons changed, so did their story. Emily took Noah for allergy tests, filled the house with EpiPens, read every label twice. She found a new babysitter, this time, a retired nurse who adored Shadow and called him her furry paramedic. Life moved forward with cautious hope. One evening, Emily sat on the porch, Noah asleep in her lap, Shadow's head resting on her foot. She looked at the stars and thought about how close she'd come to losing everything. She whispered a promise to herself, to trust her instincts, to trust her dog, and to cherish every heartbeat that filled her small, imperfect home. To everyone watching this story, what would you do if your dog tried to warn you? Would you listen? Do you believe animals have a sixth sense when it comes to protecting us? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below, we want to hear your stories too. If you found this story as moving as I did, please share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to Justice on Paws for more true stories of loyalty, love, and the incredible bond between humans and their furry guardians. Until next time, keep your hearts open and your paws close. Justice on Paws, where every bark has a story.